Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. I decided to do a different kind of widget here instead of y'all watching an orange head pulsing. And it's something new, something different, but you only live once. And like my grandmother used to say, then you're dead for a long time. So you might as well try new things, right? So, I had little hiccups here and there. I am simulcasting on Utizzle and Rumble, and I appreciate everybody who tunes in, even though I am late tonight compared to my usual time. So I hope everybody's still awake. And I'm going to put, let me see, I'm experimenting with this thing, and the orange head is gone. And as you can see, I'm on my riverbank. Let me see if I can get my riverbank here. I'm going to get on the riverbank. Yeah, this thing is supposed to be able to talk. Wait a minute, it's talking. But it hadn't been doing that very much. There we go. I'm on the riverbank. Creek bank. I might do some fishing. That's a self-portrait. How do y'all like that? So anyway, I might try to see if I can put the chats on the screen so you all can read along with it. We'll get some crawdads out of the creek and steam them up and with a little spicy sauce. And anyway, boy, have we got a lot to talk about. I tell you, the more I look at that SCOTUS decision authored by Sotomayor, it's absolutely sickening. And the media's running with the narrative that she was able to provide them with her vagueness and her histrionics. I'm surprised they even allowed that opinion to be published. And Clarence Thomas, and I believe even Amy Coney Barrett had made comments about some of the opinions that were being written by Ketanji Brown and Sotomayor's just being, in so many words, ridiculous and incoherent. So, and they were admonished for saying that. But it's supposed to be clear and have some concise nature to it. But I was wondering, and I'll wait till some more people get in, whether this is a little better. I'm going to try to see if I can put the chats on the screen. I don't know how that works. We'll find out together. Hi, Gloria. Hi, Yvonne. Wayne. Nice to see you. Robin. Debbie. Marie. Miss Mendersu. That is a self-portrait. Okay? I got my corncob pipe, my bottle of moonshine, my jug of moonshine, and my old blunderbuss. So I hope you all like it. Hi, Pappy Two Bears. See how it shakes when I talk? I might get it to where the mouth opens and closes, it blinks and everything else. I don't know yet. All this high-tech stuff. How you doing, Todd? Nice to see you. So anyway, we got these pro-alien I put in the title, judges. I think all these things are going to be addressed. And CBS has stepped in it again. Trump has put a smackdown on them. And let me see. Hi, Kathy. How you doing? Let me see if I can get chats on the screen so you all can follow along with the chats. I don't know. Can you all see the chats now? Oh, I have to hide my chats. Let me see how this works. Yeah, now you all should be able to see the chats. Is that right or wrong, folks? Just let me know if you all can see the chats. That would be great. Kathy said yes. Oh, right. Do you like it that way, or do you just want to look at the creek? And I'm thinking to myself, I tickle myself, Debbie. I tickle myself. I was thinking that it's better than sitting there watching that orange head pulsing. But anyway, this way I don't know how long I can do it, but I can leave the screen the way it is and talk and look at stuff in my in my library and read to you all, so I don't have to rely on notes or just my memory. But I don't know how long I can do that. I'll try to do it for a while. And I didn't get a notification, and if I wouldn't have checked, before I went live, I would not have known. Mike and Bev went to buy me a coffee, and I do appreciate that so much. Thank you, Mike and Bev. And I want to remind everyone this is a totally viewer-supported channel. I'm not monetized on YouTube. I have a link in the description if anybody wants to help out. And Gary came in, hit a home run the other night. I know he goes far away sometimes for extended periods, given his work, providing energy to this nation. So they end up places where there's no signal and stuff like that. But he was able to come in, check in, and help me out, and I appreciate it, Gary, if you're out there, buddy. This might look like a creek in Alaska in the springtime. I just want to know who put them power lines up next to my creek. But anyway, folks, the chats are doubled. I put hide chat view for me. I can't scroll this way. I can't scroll through the chats, but I'll have to try to catch them as they come in. So is that what you all are seeing? The chats are doubled up? They look like they're about half frozen. Let me try this. Take them down. I'll put it where I have them on my screen. Hi, Debbie. Yeah, they look like they're frozen. I took the view down. I don't know if they've worked the bugs out on this platform or this particular way of doing things. Hi, Kathy. I wonder who I missed. You can't rotate your screen and make it landscape. Yeah, I may make it portrait next time. This is my first time broadcasting. What is this? No, it's portrait. Landscape is, wait a minute, landscape's the other way. That's because I'm doing it in portrait. Hi, Yvonne. It's in portrait. That's why. So, yeah, that's. I was watching JLR, and he was doing that a lot in portrait. Next time I'll do it in landscape. I just thought these chats would come on the screen for you better in this portrait mode. These are things I have to find out as I go along. Let me see again. I'll put the chats on the screen. Let me see. There they are. Are they doubled up? Can you see them? Now, maybe I can move mine. I don't know. Let me see how this works. I didn't want to get into a... put this up here. Okay. All right. Let's see if it keeps moving. Yeah, Miss Sue, I like JLR too. He's a good kid. He's a good kid. And I think I can put him where I can scroll up and down, but you won't. Hey, wait a minute. Let me put in here, hi, folks, with exclamation points. There. Did I show up in the chats? Ha ha ha, sure did. That's too much work. There, now I can see the chat view. There, I'm in the chats now. I can say things, but that's, yeah, it's a little ha ha ha. But anyway, folks, This way I can review things. I can also scroll upward. You all can see the chats as they go by, but I can scroll them up a little ways to review them. Not a lot. And at the same time, you all still get to see the chats. That's why I did it in, I'm doing it in portrait. It gives a bigger screen, but I might be able to figure out somewhere I can do it in landscape. I can do it in landscape. Oh, you see me scrolling my chats? Todd? I didn't know you all could see me scrolling through the chats. Let me know what you all see. Flannel Cheese, how you doing? Before I get into my rants about all the, I put in my thumbnail, they're all running out of cards. You know who's running out of cards? Name it. Name it. Pick a name out of a hat that's been picking on Trump. They're running out of cards. Letitia James. I'll pick that one out of the hat. I'll pick Fannie Willis out of the hat. You want to do foreign policy? Didn't have any cards. Who else is running out of cards? Oh, Chairman Xi from China is running out of cards. So what do you all see on the screen? Do you see me scrolling right now? I'm scrolling up. I'm all the way up to where Miss Mindersu said, I like JLR. Now I'm scrolling down where I put, hi, folks. And, or can you just see the chats? I don't know. What the hell now, Miss Mindersu says. There's no thumbs up button. There has to be. There has to be because I've left thumbs up for JR. L investigates JR. Even when he's in landscape mode. Do you see chats at the bottom, Ronald? How you doing, Ronald? Somebody said I had double chats. And I don't understand that. Ronald said chats at the top. Hi, Rick. How you doing? Gloria, you got to find the thumbs up button. Everybody give me thumbs up. Ha ha. Debbie said, Debbie hit the thumbs up. Here, I'll put up my old face here. There you go. How you like that? Ha ha. So everybody knows they're at the right place. Because I got my self-portrait up. I put my self-portrait up. I've had that hat a long time. It's got a bullet hole up in the top. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not. And I got my yellow daisy in the front and a bottle of a jug of moonshine, a corncob pipe, and a blunderbuss. I don't know, Debbie. Everybody else is giving me thumbs up. You gotta give me a thumbs up somehow. Anyway, what was I talking about? President Xi of China. He's out of cards. You know, they grab every narrative and twist it. They pervert the news. I'm not going to say they misdirect the news anymore. I'm going to tell it like it is. They pervert it. And I wasn't going to put that in my title. Let's see. Rick said 3 little dots in the right-hand corner. I don't know. Am I doing a YouTube short? No, I'm going to do a live stream, damn it. We got Ronald and we got Ronald. Oh, did Roland make it in yet, or was I seeing things? I had a crooked eye. I might. But anyway, is my transmission going good? Hi, Andrew. I'm going to get my self-portrait where the mouth moves and the eyeballs move and all kinds of stuff. I got a good 5x5 for sound. We're wired for sound. Let me see. Yeah. Whoa. I did something wrong. Wait a minute. Yeah, I'm doing a bunch of little technical stuff here. But hi, Whiskey. Doc, how you doing, Doc? Make sure you all give me a thumbs up. Today, Mr. T put up about CBS. They're pulling their crap. And once again, saying that they need to lose their license, and they really do. They need to lose their broadcast license. What they're doing is ridiculous. Let me see. I'll make sure my cough button works. There, I jumped out for a minute, went into my library. I don't think you all noticed my absence. So, Rick says, oh, wait a minute, my screen's stuck. I'll work out the bugs. Right now, I've got the daggone screen half black here. Wait a minute. There we go. Pull it back up. Oh, my. There we go. There we go. I got to figure it out. Hi, Andy. All right. Warrior, how nice to see you. I hope that Mr. T is heated. He says, I just finished watching 60 Minutes, the fake news show that was scandalously responsible for removing a terrible and incompetently delivered answer by failed presidential candidate Kamala Harris to an interview on 60 Minutes just prior to Election Day, and putting in its place a completely different answer to a completely different question in order to make Kamala look coherent. Now, tonight, with two separate but highly inaccurate stories about Trump, they're at it again. The people at fake news, CBS fake news, just don't get it. That was the first one he put out about fake news, CBS. Huh. I'm just seeing. It looks. Yeah, they know they're done. I just don't. Are the chats moving for you all as you enter your chats? Do they put new chats in? It's hard for me to know what you all see. But anyway, he followed that post up with almost every week. 60 Minutes, which is being sued for billions of dollars for the fraud they committed in the 2024 presidential election. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. He said they committed fraud. With their interview of failed presidential candidate Kamala Harris, mentions the name Trump in a derogatory and defamatory way. But this weekend's, quote, broadcast tops them all. They did not one, but two major stories on Trump, one having to do with Ukraine, which I say is a war that would never happen if the 2020 election had not been rigged. In other words, if I were president and the other story was having to do with Greenland, casting our country as led by me falsely, inaccurately, and fraudulently, I am so honored to be suing CBS fake news and Paramount over their fraudulent, beyond recognition reporting. They did everything possible to illegally elect Kamala, including completely and corruptly changing major answers to interview questions, but it just didn't work for them. I want to make sure I don't drop off my stream. Y'all still with me? Yeah. Yeah, let me see if anybody answered my question about what you see on the chats. Andy said, yeah, they're moving. But they're the chat display for me is up top is frozen, but the one I have in the bottom that I can scroll through. Hi, Brush. Amy, how you doing? The one I can scroll through. Hi, Darla. Is moving around, but I don't know if you all can watch your own chats on the screen. So I'll finish this up. So he's suing them. They are not a, quote, news show, but a dishonest political operative that's simply disguised as, quote, news, and must be responsible for what they've done and are doing. They should lose their license. Hopefully, the Federal Communications Commission, as headed by its highly respected chairman, Brendan Carr, will impose the maximum fines and punishment, which is substantial, for their unlawful and illegal behavior. CBS is out of control at levels never seen before, and they should pay a big price for this. Make America great again. They are manipulating public opinion, and I say interfering with foreign affairs to a criminal degree. Hi, Jackie. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Huh. What in the heck? What the heck happened here? Whoa, wait a minute. Oh, my. There we go. The top chats move when I scroll through, Todd says. Your chat is frozen, but ours. Oh, okay. Yes, we've heard the term pause many times before, haven't we? Yes, we have. I'm going to get where I can put stuff on the screen. I guess you notice this is a new system for Mountain Man. So, did you, now, Shapiro out of Pennsylvania finally called for an end to violence. Very strongly called for an end to violence. But that was, of course, after his house got struck by an arsonist. Have you all heard about that? Severe damage in a big dining room that they were celebrating Passover the night before. So can you say anti-Semitic? And everybody's going, oh, you know, some people are dumber than a box of rocks. I was watching one of the live streams, I won't say who, and people were saying, oh, he did it for the insurance money. I mean, a lot of people. I'm like, you morons. The state owns the governor's mansion. It's like if something happened to the White House, they said, oh, Trump did it to get the insurance money. What a bunch of nitwits. I have to constantly remind myself that these are the people we're having to deal with. And no, Josh Shapiro wouldn't get any insurance money if the governor's mansion burned down. But a lot of people were like, well, was it a false? And then, you know, the other term, flag. Yeah, we've seen our share of people saying, oh, somebody left a noose on my desk, and turned out they left the noose. Somebody set our church on fire. They set their own church on fire. Fannie Willis's father, a 90-some-year-old commie that tried to get citizenship in South Africa, where they're doing very bad things, okay, to people because of their color or their skin. Uh, Claimed the house got spray painted and they were scared, but they never told any cops. And he cleaned the spray paint off himself, you know. So, yeah, we see a lot of that. But they caught somebody. They caught somebody. Who did they catch? A guy named Cody Balmer. Pennsylvania State Police have arrested a 38-year-old from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania for terrorism, attempted murder, and arson. Balmer is accused of breaking into the Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro's residence and starting a fire while he and his family slept. Fortunately, there were no reported injuries. So, Cody Balmer, whoever that is. So, he's looking at federal charges. Is that my notification coming up late? Let me see. No? Huh. Yeah, like I said, if I hadn't checked by my coffee, I wouldn't even known it. But I checked before my broadcasts. Hi, Justin. Ha. Nice to see you, buddy. You had the top gone and then put it on again. Yeah, I know. I was trying to get the top to move. So you see chats at the top and the bottom too? Ronald? Do you see chats at the top and the bottom too? Huh. Let me know. Oh, you do? I don't need the chats at the top then, if you can see them on the bottom. So that means I can broadcast in landscape mode, where I have less working room on the screen. Okay, all right, I'll get rid of that. So you can look at the blue skies because you all can see the chats. I wonder if they'll stay on after the broadcast, though, on the screen. Because usually they don't, you all can't see the chats on the screen the other way I was broadcasting. This way, apparently you can see them and I don't have to put it on. Yeah, I just changed it, Ronald. I'm learning. Larn. You got to learn. I got to use my kidneys. I'm tapping the side of my head. Kidneys. So anyway, I was talking about who was running out of cards. Tell me who's not running out of cards. You got over in Italy, they're trying to put their opposition party in jail, just like they tried to do with Trump. And this was after they convicted Marine Le Pen in France. They want to try to put her in jail. You got Italy and France are trying to jail their opposition. You got the British government, UK government, telling people. I saw one video. If you ask someone to speak English, that could be a hate crime. And they're putting people in jail for memes, posts on Facebook. It's a desperate situation for the New World Order. I almost said situation. But anyway, I didn't. That's the main thing. I almost did. So, let me see. What did I miss? So you all see me rolling the chats up and down. Ha! Oh, Justin says won't see him in the rebroadcast. Yeah, well, I'd be in big trouble if I lived there too. So anyway, let me see what else I got here. Clandestine put up Zelensky, another guy banned out of cards, is once again insisting Trump visit Ukraine. before advancing to peace negotiations. How about no? Ukraine is a C.I.A. proxy. And we just learned Ryan Ralph, was trying to buy a missile launcher from Ukraine to take out Trump. It sounds like an obvious trap. Sounds like it to me, too. Well, if I put them on the screen, let me see, like this, then they'll be in the rebroadcast, right? Ronald, I think Pam Bondi was in there when she was at the state level, but Epstein was charged by that guy that ended up being Trump's labor secretary. And then he got intimidated by the three-letter agencies to accept a plea deal. And when Trump found out about it, he fired him as the labor secretary, cabinet position, and had Epstein rearrested. I think the guy that Trump fired, I can't remember his name, but he was in charge, not Pam Bondi. He was the prosecutor responsible for dealing with the three-letter agencies. Now, these chats will be in the rebroadcast at the top of the screen. So I might not be able to do this if I want to review chats in landscape mode. That's what some of the stuff I'm trying to find out about this way of doing it. So you can see the chats on the bottom as I scroll. But you can't, after the broadcast, you won't be able to see those. Interesting. Who is Taylor Lorenz? Taylor Lorenz gushes over Luigi Mangione. Quote, here's this man who's a revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems like a morally good man, which is hard to find. This is a star. Lionizing a cowardly, cold-blooded murderer. Premeditated coward came up behind, put one in somebody's back like a coward. So that's why I said, that's why I changed my opinion. I think he has to face the ultimate penalty. That's it. We can't have this. We can't have this. I remember opining years ago, because I just realized I've been broadcasting more like 4 years. Richard Speck. Y'all remember that name? Richard Speck? My upper chats are frozen. They're not moving. But my bottom ones, I can move around. But I don't see any new ones in the upper chats. Very odd. Maybe it's because nobody's typing. But Richard Speck, he was a notorious mass murder and endurer. He's been in jail for 30 freaking years or more than that. They smuggled in hormone treatments for his upper body growth, if you know what I mean. Because apparently he's one of these multi-lettered persons, alphabet persons. And they get dope in the prison. They get telephones in the prison. They get TVs in the prison. and I forget, it was nurses. He went into a dormitory, and I think it was 3 of them, might have been more. And how the hell he ended up living the last 30 plus years the way he's living. He shouldn't be on this earth anymore. So, yeah, you continue lionizing this person. He needs to be in a pine box, and that's the end of it. Okay, just like they did Timothy McVeigh. You're out of here fast, quick, send a message, get it over with. Yeah, personalized tablets. Hi, Andy. That's right. Linda, nice to see you. So she's just, well, let me see what else I can do here. I got to get the hang of this thing. I will. Trump had his physical. I've got a copy of the physicians to the president report. I wonder if I can expand that so I can read. That's some tiny print. Yeah, I can. Gives his test panel on his total cholesterol, triglycerides, HDL good, HDL bad, all of it's good, desirable, optimal, complete blood count, his white blood cells, hemoglobin, whatever, metabolic panel, creatinine, what's that? I have to look at that in detail. But anyway, he's in excellent health, and the libs can't stand it because they're the party of vitriol and violence and crassness, immoral, and it's all coming out. That's how you end up with crazy Carvilles looking like lunatics on TV, and then you got the Hobbit, what's his name, crying Conway, George Conway. we got to stand up for what's right and wrong. Yeah, I got to play that again next time I get where I can put videos up. Yeah, they're delayed up top. But you can read them on the bottom. You know, when I usually broadcast, can you all see the chats when I usually broadcast? When I do my picture shows, can you all see the chats? When I do my picture shows? Whoa. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I didn't know that. I thought they, I'll be darned. Well, anyway, let's see what else is going on. Yeah, telling someone to sprechen Sie English can get you in jail in England. Boy, that's a lot of fun. Trump is weighing plans to shutter controversial law enforcement agency. Merge the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, which people call the ATF, and the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency. Yeah, just merge them together. Because remember what I said, the ATF just used to be called revenuers. Revenuers are here. Because that's what there was alcohol to bust up stills. Because it was a federal alcohol tax. And then it got to all the other crap they tacked on there and all the stunts they're pulling now trying to goad people into, like they did on Ruby Ridge. oh, cut another 1/4 inch off this shotgun. No, I don't think I should. I really don't think I should. Oh, go ahead. Come on now, do it. Yeah, he won $7 million, but it wasn't worth losing his wife and kid. Ruby Ridge, you all remember that, right? So anyway, I think it's going to be goodbye ATF. Because once these Supreme Court decisions get codified and these judges start getting punished for ignoring orders or defying them, just using different words, but still defying the law with creative verbiage. We get rid of that, and we're not going to be needing no ATF, I can tell you that. Yeah, Diane, other format better, but I'm stuck with this one tonight. Yeah, it's hard for me to sit and play producer and put up all these videos. I'm going to take the upper chats down. Produce videos and try to keep a train of thought and everything like that. I might shorten it to, I will play videos and I'll play half a dozen to a dozen a night. And then 2 or 3 days later, I'll see somebody take like one of the videos I've already played, and they'll do a 20-minute video, YouTube video on that one issue. Take, for instance, Jasmine Crockett talking about picking cotton, or a cuckoo bunch of liberals messing up some Teslas. And they'll put it out 2 or 3 days later, get 50,000 views, and the video is produced very nicely. And I had somebody ask me about, can I do this to the sound? Or, the sound goes up and down. I get videos, you don't know who took them. You don't know if they took them in mono or stereo, right or left speaker. Which platform you import them from. Is it Telegram? Is it X? Is it Truth Social? Is it YouTube? All of them have different audio things. And I can't do it anymore. I can't, much less have something produced like a Netflix movie. It's just not possible. Not possible. I don't have the equipment or the time. I wouldn't be able to go up most nights. I go 5 nights a week. And no, I can't. It's not technologically possible for me to bring that much information the same day it happens and make sure all the sound is modified like a normal video. That's people that have producers. That's people that have what do you call it? Not commercial artists, but whatever. They set up their thumbnails for them. They produce the videos. They equalize the sound. They edit clips together. They trim them. They size them. And then the presenter is, the personality. But no, thank you, Linda. I appreciate that. But I get too many complaints. It's either, I can't hear the video. Oh, the video is way too loud. What the hell am I supposed to do about it? I'm an old man with a phone, and I do the best I can. And then I'm totally wiped out at the end of the night. And then, like my last broadcast, I got a copyright. Get this, folks. If you all were with me the other night, they took my video down most places around the world, whatever the hell that means. It was the video where I played the Chinese putting out this AI of fat guys trying to put cell phones together. Remember that, folks? It was about a 22-second video. It played music for about 3 seconds. Creedence Clearwater Revival. They shut the whole video down. I shut the music off after 3 seconds. And they shut the whole video down. And then I had the following day, I didn't even know it was restricted. Television shows likes it the way it is. So everybody's got a little different opinion. The thing is we're here to discuss current events, right? And what's the future for our country? Because I have to say again, for 4 years, I have been telling people, because I was watching an NPC show give his thoughts on General Flynn, Rudy Giuliani, and James O'Keefe, all getting a little squirrely about Pam Bondi and Kash Patel. Now, I would that they're not moving fast enough, or not so much Rudy. You know, Rudy is very, very smart. And I want to tell you a little trick. If Rudy Giuliani came out and said, I think Pam Bondi's doing a wonderful job, I think Kash Patel's doing a wonderful job, and praising them, he'd probably get his regular viewers like you and me, right? But if he said, I got a problem with them, I'm worried about them, or I don't like what they're doing, they're going to get a lot of people tuning in that otherwise would not. Anywhere from people sitting on the fence to people way over in the left will tune in and listen to him. And then he gets to talk about Epstein lists. Then he gets to talk about the persecution of General Flynn. Then he gets to talk about his property being confiscated and what the judges did wrong with his case. His proof of voter fraud. His proof of money laundering. Get what I'm saying? So Rudy Giuliani is a smart old card, and he knows what he's doing. He's a sharp old card. And Kash Patel, I thought, early on, I didn't have any problem with him as a person. The only thing that concerned me was his youth. I thought, wow, he's young. He's young to be, this was before he was appointed to anything. I thought, well, Kash Patel's not going to be put in a, quote, senior position because he's very young, to my mind. But then I tempered that with how old was James Madison? How old were some of the founders? How old were some of the people that signed the Declaration of Independence? Okay, it's what he has inculcated in his mind. If it's age-old wisdom, okay, and he's an adult, it doesn't matter that he's a young adult. It's what are his principles? Are they age-old principles and accurate reflection of what this country stands for and what it was founded on? And the answer is yes. So that took care of my concerns because, a couple of years ago, I was saying, Kash, I don't think you're going to, well, it turned out he's in a position of great responsibility. And I don't, wait, I'm getting a little, is that McCraggy Citizen, what are you talking about? If I think you're coming here to cause trouble, I'm not going to deal with you for very long. So I hope you're here to engage in the conversation. I don't know what you're doing. Nobody knows what the Grandma Brownies is, okay? Because I don't know. I don't know you and you don't know me. We just met. But I like dark chocolate and chunky chips in my cookies. So, yeah, the McCrag Citizen, MacRag. So, is that a bot? I mean, answer me, McCraggy. Are you just farting around? And then, we'd like you to come in and be part of the chats if you're. And even if you don't like Trump or nothing, I'll engage with you. I just want to know if you're serious or just farting around. Chat farting. But anyway, what was that all about? Yeah, we got Dan Bongino, and I didn't think Bongino was going to take a position because of his health. Any kind of cancer you're going through that you have to have treatment for is very draining, very draining. And he is fairly young. But, yeah, we'll keep an eye on him. He might respond. He might be all right. If you got the thing is that I don't know if that person's left or right or anything like that. But to anybody that's on the left out there right now listening, if you think the Supreme Court ordered that character to get shipped back to the U.S., period, got to be brought back, you're wrong. And I'll tell you how I'm wrong. And that's why I'm so down on Sotomayor, because she did not write a clear ruling. And she wrote it convoluted and like a political treatise at times, rather than a legal document, I believe on purpose, to get a narrative up that Trump is violating court orders. When you read that Supreme Court decision concerning this person who ended up in El Salvador, you'll see that the main part of the order is sending it back to the judge to clarify, instructing the judge to clarify what the word facilitate means. Okay? And they're not. She is not. This Zimmer or whatever. No, Sotomayor is not to be trusted. Sotomayor needs to be removed from the bench. And I'm not saying that lightly. Because she's not writing in a judicious way. She's writing in a political way. 42 subscribers. He's a child. Nothing gets past my matrix. Well, he didn't come back. So he's talking about chocolate chips, Hi, Barinkin. Yeah, that could be true. I know Cash has got, and it's a good thing. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a good thing. He's got an ego. And it's like Trump said, people like to keep their look. Everybody's vain to some degree, and they want to keep their look. And they just talk about how drugs ruin your looks. And I don't think Kash Patel would play second fiddle, but he would definitely take good advice, and he would definitely take backup. Kash Patel is a headstrong young man, and that's not a bad thing. we wouldn't have a country if it wasn't for headstrong young men. This country wasn't built on noodle-armed, egghead liberals. Yeah, I believe he's one of the T-cards too. And, I wouldn't be rough on Pam Bondi. Because, like we talk about the liberals saying 30 days after Trump gets in, they're complaining about eggs hadn't come down. Well, we're saying, hey, you're not giving him any time. Well, it's the same for us. We have to understand that this is at least a century in the making of this rat hole that they're all dug into. Fat, nasty, biting rats are dug into this hole for 100 years, reproducing, okay, and recruiting, cultivating more rats. And you're just not going to get it all done in 2 months, 3 months. And you got to start with little fish and chop your way up to big fish. I am curious about when Pam Bondi said there was going to be a major arrest in 24 hours. And of course, the 24 hours gone by. But the arrest could be on the QT for right now. Being kept quiet for a reason. Or it could be stalled for a reason. Somebody could be cooperating. I had an old lady one time, years ago. She said, never show a fool an unfinished project. Because they won't understand what you're doing. They won't understand what your final product is going to be. And they're going to be insistent on pestering you on how to do it right when they don't even know what you're doing. So you never show a fool an unfinished product. Does that make sense? And, not to say we're fools. Of course, we're not. We know what's going on, and everything that's been happening over the past 8 years is falling right in line with what we expected. But the majority of people don't have time to put in that we've put in. And the majority of people get their information from a corrupt media source. And we call it the matrix, the news matrix. We're getting average people to break out of the news matrix. And that takes time. Oh, I think just about everybody who's gotten the top positions are on board. But I was saying that, for 4 years, what got me into broadcasting was there were so many people on the edges of their chairs every single freaking night thinking there was going to be mass arrests, thinking that the military was going to step in and remove Biden and arrest everybody and do all this because of 11.3 loss of war, which was totally misread. And I said, the military's the only way? By ghosts in the machine, by counter psyops, and by a counter-insurgency. Our information campaign is the counter-insurgency. It's a civilian news, okay, is the counter-insurgency. The matrix media is the insurgency. And they have been active for 50 years, in high gear, 30 years in high gear. They hit overdrive when Obama got in office. They hit maximum overdrive of misinformation, disinformation every waking hour, looking for ways to distort the news when Trump won. That's maximum overdrive insurgency PSYOP reporting. And I will humbly say that I think General Flynn will agree with what I'm saying. The 17th letter was started to let people know that they needed to be part of a counterinsurgency. People are saying that Flynn has rejected the 17th letter and says it's not anything to be paying attention to. To some degree, he's right with that statement. He's right with his overall thoughts on the matter, because I think he had a part of developing that type of PSYOP, a PSYOP that consists of spreading the truth. But it hasn't been utilized for 4 years. It can stand on its past posts. There's nothing there that's misleading, nothing there, unless it was disinformation to screw up the opponents. Misinformation is necessary. But the bulk of it was clickable open source sites that you could go to verify what was being said. And if you look at it, like I said, the term "the military is the only way" does not mean that they come in on white horses and forcibly remove the sovereign, the head of state. The military is the only way you can be a ghost in the machine, that you can spur on a counterinsurgency by the people going against the foreign insurgents who have captured the mainstream media. Does that make sense to you all? Because that's what this is all about. Because the very, very bottom line is that we're responsible for our own republic. 100 years from now, if this republic falls, nobody's going to care if people say, "Oh, well, it was because of the media," or "it was because of so-and-so." It doesn't matter. We lost it. It fell. No excuses. We're responsible for our own government. Of the people, for the people, by the people. So if we lose it, we got nobody to blame but ourselves. And that's the ultimate message from the 17th letter. That we have to take a stand, obey the law. One falls, another rises. And that's as far as these information campaigns go. Using the truth. Armor of God. And once you have yourself in that mindset, you will agree with General Flynn that if the military did come in here and take out Joe Biden, we'd have a real problem. And if we applauded that, we'd be applauding our own demise. Because that's not the way things operate. So this business with CBS, as an example, Trump's calling for lawful punishment of that outfit and for us to expose what they did. And so that's why I read verbatim the truth he put out. They did interfere with the election. They did manipulate the tapes. And there's another that I doubt the Trump team missed. They just don't want to information overload. There was a clip that it was either CNN or one of those characters put out where Biden gave an answer. He stuttered, he stammered, he was talking about abortion, and he finished his answer, and they put Trump's response where he said, I don't even think he knows what he's saying. But that wasn't the right response. It was switched from another response where Biden said, we finally beat Medicaid or Medicare or whatever. So there's plenty of examples of them editing and manipulating videos to misguide the public. And at some point there's going to be action taken, and where it's going to be obvious. And I believe Sotomayor is participating in this emotional gamesmanship or gameswomanship of trying to get the public to believe that this person who evaded a court order to leave the country for 6 years belongs back in this country. When the real gist of her order said the lower court needs to define the term facilitate and refrain from using the word effectuate. Effectuate means Trump has to send somebody to go get him or pay for his flight back or to enter in direct negotiations with Bukele to force Bukele to send him back. No, she doesn't have that authority. Sotomayor said she may be overstepping the court's authority when she should have said she is. But that's more of the gamesmanship and the emotional horse shit that Sotomayor is famous for putting out. Why did she have to put part of the paragraph saying torture and human right violation and this and that? Spend a week at boot camp. See if you don't get your head shaved. See if you don't get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go on a 20-mile march. They got their heads down when they're moving them from place to place to make sure they cannot look at their surroundings and plan anything or understand where they are in relationship to the exit doors. And then they put them in their cells, and they live to a degree that is average for prisoners in El Salvador. I've told you about how Guatemalans on the work site thought a shower was somewhere where you went to take a dump. Can you imagine building a brand new house and find Pedro in there? What are you doing? Well, I mean, I don't know. Yeah. You know, because they don't even have plumbing in some of these countries. Go to the Philippines. They don't have indoor bathrooms. They cook breaking up wooden sticks they get from the woods to make their tea. Oh, that's a human rights violation. What are we supposed to do? So she's playing games, and that fits into what I was talking about. Having these judges take up the rope, give them enough rope where they put down in writing for history to judge that they don't they don't have the mental capacity, the intellectual grasp of basic law, and or they're trying to assist with subverting this country by taking up for illegal aliens that have no right to be in this country. Couple that with finding out last year there were over 2 million, 2.3 million, was it? Got Social Security numbers. 500,000 the year before. 300,000 the year before that. We have millions and millions that have no business on Social Security with Social Security numbers. We have people on Medicaid that we're paying for. You couple that with these judges. I had another notification that 2 judges in Texas and New York, judges broaden temporary protection for Venezuelan migrants facing removal. It says removal, not deportation. Federal judges in New York and Texas ruled Friday that temporary restraining orders in place to stop the removal of Venezuelans from the U.S. would be expanded to protect more people in both states, New York and Texas, where the abuses of our social systems are the most stressed, besides California. So they're teaming up. Federal judges in New York ruled Friday, and Texas. The rulings come in class action lawsuits filed to stop the government from removing Venezuelans accused of being gang members under the Alien Enemies Act. They granted temporary restraining orders earlier this week that prevented the U.S. government from removing Venezuelans held at a detention center in Raymondville, Texas, and those held within the federal jurisdiction of the Southern District of New York, the most corrupt judicial area of the judicial system, I believe, in the U.S. is Southern District of New York, where Jeffrey Epstein got let off the hook, by the way, and where they had to twist everybody's arm and fire people for them to arrest Ghislaine Maxwell. They wouldn't arrest her. On Friday, Judge Fernando Rodriguez Jr. in Texas broadened his ruling to protect all Venezuelans detained in his judicial district. That includes the cities of, Galveston, Houston. Whoa, wait a minute. Jumping around, we. Laredo, McAllen, Brownsville, Corpus Christi, and Victoria. He's basically making them sanctuary cities. Who the hell gave him that kind of authority to overstep the president and the Secretary of State on terrorist designations and predatory incursions? It's going to get thrown out. But ABC News is putting out there like it's some kind of humanitarian operation. The same way as Sotomayor wrote that foggy ruling. Foggy ruling where news agencies could say, well, it sounded to me like she didn't want anybody tortured. She was ordering him back right now. Because if you just take cursory reading of it, the histrionic part of it, but that's not what counts. What counts are the instructions, lawful instructions to the lower court to define, facilitate, and go from there. Judge Alvin K. Hellerstein in the Manhattan Federal Court amended his initial order to include protection for individuals subject to the presidential proclamation who are on state and or local custody. He has no business overriding a presidential proclamation. These TROs, Roberts, to his credit, put out, these aren't TROs because TROs are not appealable. They're walking like ducks and they're quacking like ducks. They are what's the term they use for them? Injunctions or a cause of action higher than a temporary restraining order. The judicial activity happened after the U.S. Supreme Court on Monday ruled the administration can resume removals under the Alien Enemies Act, but detainees must be afforded some due process before they are flown away, including reasonable time to argue to a judge that they should not be removed. They've always had that. It's called habeas corpus. I won't get into the nuts and bolts and sticks and twigs and leaves about habeas corpus, but that's already there. And their notice was a public presidential proclamation. And further proclamations by the public notice. Get on the CB app and get the hell out. We got an app for that. And if you don't, you're in big trouble. That's published in all the newspapers, broadcast on all the TVs. They don't need somebody to come up and give them a handwritten love note explaining it. Notice has been given. So these are all games. Games there are people on the Supreme Court want to play. The judicial activity, let's see, Judge Rodriguez asked the government on Friday if it would be providing proper notice to affected Venezuelans facing removals, as the Supreme Court had ordered. Well, that's a flaw in the Supreme Court. That's why there's a public proclamation required. A public proclamation, call it a declaration, proclamation, public notice, whatever you want. That is to let people know. Remember the guy in the town square ringing the bell? Ding, ding, ding. Hear ye, all denizens or all whatever. The following has been proclaimed. And that was legal notice. So hear ye. Get the hell out. So anyway. Yeah, they say this guy that's going up for the administration is a good, really good attorney. But hey, we all need a little different perspective. If I was talking to him, I'd say, hey, bring that up. Well, that's the purpose of public proclamation is to inform the public to give notice. Hear ye, hear ye. Like they say when they're going to foreclose on a house, they put something in the paper. When people get divorced, they put something in the paper so everybody knows. That's your notice. They call it the paper of record. So the judge goes on to say it would be proper to give 30 days notice as it was done in World War II. Oh, this was an attorney, Lee Gell-Rent, ACL attorney. Who gave 30-day notice during World to who? Who are you talking about? He's talking about the Japanese internment. Our concern is that the government has not said what the notice will look like. Oh, okay, let's give a bunch of gang members 30-day notice. Hey, we know where you are. We're coming for you. What a bunch of... The date of that proclamation is the date of the notice. And anybody that doesn't know, you got a tattoo on, okay? You've been hanging out with gang members. You don't need somebody to come up and tell you your rear end is subject to get thrown the hell out of this country. If you've got an order of deportation that you have been avoiding, you need somebody else to give you more notice on top of that? The lawsuit filed by the ACLU and ACLU of Texas tried to stop removals like those of more than 100 people who were sent to a notorious prison in El Salvador without letting them challenge their removals in court. They're not entitled to that. They've already been adjudicated to be deported, or they've already been designated by the Secretary of State to be part of a predatory incursion. So we got to go to court for all this crap. They're also asking the court to rule whether it's unlawful to use the Alien Enemies Act when the country's not at war. The whole reason for the Alien Enemies Act was to be able to take action in peacetime. The last time it was challenged and affirmed by the Supreme Court was 1948, 3 years after the end of World War II. It was peacetime. Preliminary injunction hearings, were scheduled in most states later this month. Preliminary injunction. Yeah, that's what they're trying to say. This is a temporary restraining order, not a preliminary injunction. That's what I was trying to find, words I was trying to find earlier, some kind of restrictive action. So anyway, I think the administration is going to play it cool. They haven't got a leg to stand on. They're running out of cards. These judges are running out of cards. Hi, Amy. How you doing? You're going to bed? Did we hear any more? Hi, Rebecca. Did we hear? Jerry said hit thumbs up. That's right. Yeah. We hear any more from the guy talking about, I can't go back farther, chocolate chip cookies or whatever the hell he was talking about. So anyway, I was saying, who's running out of cards? Who's not running out of cards would be a shorter list. Mr. T is not running out of cards. They tried to distort every single, this court ruling by Sotomayor, they're portraying as an order to return. I told you about that reporter who had the damn nerve to say, is Bukele going to be bringing him back when he comes to visit the president? You idiot. Bukele's coming tomorrow. Isn't it funny how this is timed? The dopey judge that has yet to define facilitate has a hearing scheduled for Tuesday. So she's going to say, I ordered you to facilitate his return, and Bukele came here and didn't bring him back. You're violating the court order. Look, dopey, we asked you to define facilitate. You can't tell Bukele what to do, no more than a damn man on the moon. And you can't force Trump to give him cookies or withhold payment for the incarceration of this undesirable alien. So they whip everything up as a loss for Trump. The walls are closing in. Trump backed down on the tariffs. Trump flip-flopped again. I got a video before the tariffs even came into effect where somebody was saying, well, what makes everybody so nervous is that you keep shifting the goalposts, you keep changing things. And Trump said, ain't nothing changing. That was before he did anything with tariffs. He told everybody for 2 months, get with us, work out a deal, or you're going to get nailed. Do something beforehand. Some did. A lot did. And they didn't get bruised in the bit, except they had to start paying a floor of 10%. A floor. And I said that from the very beginning, that a floor is necessary because that's the way we're supposed to make our money, not taking from the people who work for a living in this country like they've been doing since 1913. 150 years or thereabouts. Prior to that, it was nobody's business what you earned from the sweat of your brow. So they've been using our own damn money all this time instead of paying their fair share in tariffs and nailing us between the eyes with tariffs that are so awful. See, it's so bad for them. That's why they tariff us. They're doing us a favor. So the dichotomy of thought has got to be getting through people's brains. But they tried to say Trump flip-flopped on China. He lowered the tariffs back to 25%, which we were never getting from China, which is billions of dollars. He lowered it to 25 for electronics like phones, tablets, computers, crap like that. There's a famous story about Abraham Lincoln dealing with Mary Todd Lincoln. She got herself in a lot of debt. Think about it. You're Abraham Lincoln and you're fighting a civil war. You're having to cogitate on constitutional questions that are going to echo throughout history. And 2 times the rebels got within eyesight of the White House. They were called the Battle of Bull Run. Battle 1, Battle 2. There were 2 battles of Bull Run where the White House almost got taken. Meanwhile, Mary Todd Lincoln is being courted or I don't know what term you use, to buy stuff, clothing, drapes, knickknacks, little candy dishes, all this kind of stuff, all decorating the White House. Everybody was complimenting her and putting the arm on her, so to speak. And next thing you know, poor old Abe is so far in debt because of what Mary Todd Lincoln been buying. He was losing money like Trump being president. It was more than they could afford. And they said it was the only time anybody saw Abraham Lincoln get cross with Mary Todd Lincoln. And he said, get these consarn or dagnab or whatever term he used, and he called them flubdubs. Get these flubdubs out of here and no more spending money. Flubdubs. Why do I bring that up? Because anything other than the electronic things that we get from China is flubdubs. You've probably had friends, or maybe you engage into, I have, where you say, oh man, that's a good deal. 2 for $1? And you get it home, whatever it is, a flubdub, you get it home and go, what the hell am I going to do with this? It's so cheap. And they shipped it all the way halfway around the freaking world. We don't need their flubdubs. We can make our own flubdubs. So, no, Trump didn't back down. He's still getting 25% tariff floor on electronics. And they're going to damn well deliver on them too. Because they need the money. Because they're running out of cards. It's the rest of the flubdubs. The chairs like Trump would not sit in when he went to give a town hall. That was a elevated stool from China that would probably drop 2 feet when you sit in it. The hydraulics give out. You ever sit in a chair that's got a hydraulic adjustment on it and it gives out? There are a lot of hardworking people in China. You see them. They work sometimes 10, 12 hours a day. They're not late. They don't leave early. They work. But you can't polish a turd. If they give you crappy material to make an item, no matter how diligent and how good you try to assemble it, it's made out of crap. Cheap crap. So, yeah. No, Trump didn't back down. He's tuning. He's tuning that tariff piano. And that's just the way it is. And they talk about China saving face. They used to bring that up in the 80s, 90s. Well, the Chinese have to save face. It is a shame. You can't expect them to lose face. Screw them and their face. And I'm talking about the Chinese party. What the hell about our face? Oh, yeah, Debbie. Lead paint and toys. People's pets dropping dead from food imported in pet food. Drywall. They give you headaches and infections from mold. Cheap steel. I still think that Gerald R. Ford was built with subpar steel, and Obama knew about it. From China. Rubber items that disintegrate, like tractor tires and, cheapest formulas they can come up with. Another story about Abraham Lincoln. The night before he was assassinated, he was asking, who can go with me to the theater to provide security? And people are like, I don't know anybody. He said, how about that that fellow that can break a fireplace poker over his arm. They had a guy, he could take his forearm, whack it with a iron fireplace poker, and the fireplace poker would snap in half. I've had a lot of fireplace pokers. I couldn't do that. Why could he do that? It's because for household items, they made out of iron, including cookware. They skimped on the coke or whatever else ingredients you needed to make iron, and it was so subpar that a guy could actually take a fireplace poker, whack his forearm with it, and break it in half. Because they use the stronger iron for cannons, rifles, and they tried to pull that crap of cutting back on the components of the ingredients to pour proper iron, and they'd have cannons split in half. So no, you couldn't have that, but you could send to the populace a bunch of cheap crap and call it iron. Well, what do you think the Chinese are doing? When they make the flub dubs. So anyway, China is in a situation where Cambodia, Vietnam, and Thailand, they played ball with Trump. They saved their face by contacting, not retaliating, saying, what do you want from us? What can we do? If China doesn't make a move real quick, and I said a long time ago, market share. That's when you're getting into the bone marrow of a company. When you take their market share, they are going to lose market share, and there are going to be companies developing relationships with the countries I just mentioned and others. India, Pakistan, and they'll never get them back. They'll never get them back. It will be a permanent reduction in market share and gross domestic product. And China can't afford that. So, no, media, Trump didn't back down. Trump didn't flip-flop. He knows what in the hell he's doing. So they say, well, China might get desperate and go after Taiwan. Oh, really? People are calling for the Communist Party's heads right now. Like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Loco? What's going to happen tomorrow? Word on the street was that Trump PO'd at China. Okay? You know what Trump is famous for? If you hit him, he will hit you twice as hard. And that's the way he operates. So the Chinese put out another increase. I think after Trump went to 140, 145%, they upped it to, I think, 125, which was a reduction from the 140 that Trump put on there. So that's a little bit of a olive branch, but it's still retaliating But they put out a statement that said, if Trump raises it after this, we will not respond. So they're cracking, at least in the rhetoric part. They're thinking, well, if we respond with a lower retaliation, and then we say, this is it, we're not going to respond to Trump anymore, maybe he'll cool off. No, Trump, they're saying, is going to put a 400% on anything that's not in that electronics category. Because they're playing games. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. And as I talked about everything that was facing Lincoln, that he was dealing with, while his wife was at home buying flub dubs and running up the debt, family debt, beyond the beyond. You have Trump dealing with all these international things, dealing with all these judges, and then you got Bukele coming tomorrow, and that hag, DEI hag, that can't even read and interpret properly an order from the Supreme Court and define facilitate. I've got all the Sotomayor's court order. I've got her responses to that. I've got the responses. I was going to read them tonight, but it's just me droning on. Some of the things she put in are childish. This judge. And you can tell she's going to bed at night with smoke coming out of her ears. And so Sotomayor. Good. Cry. Do us a favor and cry. I want to watch. They took the transcript off the record the last time she met with the administration's attorneys concerning this matter. I can only imagine what kind of idiotic comments she made. But I know Trump team knows what she said. It's not public, but they have a record. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. The meeting with Bukele. Trump is going to smile. Bukele is going to smile. The press is going to try to stir up the pot about this undesirable alien who's a criminal in effect at least for 6 years. He wandered around this country illegally and disobeyed not only a court order, but a court of appeals that said you got to go. The only fly in the ointment was this government attorney supposedly supposed to be standing up for the Trump administration, who falsely stated this guy was sent by mistake. That is the official position Sotomayor's taken, and this judge, Zeta or Zeder or whatever her name is, even though that attorney has been fired along with his supervisor. For poor conduct. So anyway, we're seeing things come to a head. Every plane crash was Trump's fault. He's flopping on tariffs. He's disobeying court orders. He's a tyrant. Jasmine Crockett, she's another one. She's running out of cards. She's running her yap. Trump brought her up. Listen, if I was a Democrat, the last name I would want to hear when Trump was at a rally or giving a press conference is my name. He brought up Jasmine Crockett. Awful funny how I brought her name up after it was disclosed. She got her fingers into $850,000 somehow from a campaign fund that there's something sideways about. What's going to happen with her? We're tired of hearing these stories and these people wandering around doing what they want. Trump's tired of it too. But the pieces got to be in the right place. Okay? When you're playing chess and you got one pawn in the wrong place and make a move, the big move with the queen or whatever, and you forgot to get that pawn in the right place, you lose the game. There's some kind of idiot YouTube channel I have never, ever heard from. I won't say what it is. It's different from Midas Trash Network, Legal AF, Dopey David Pakman. It's totally different. Came up with a new poll. Trump's approval rating crashes as tariffs crush economy. Got 26,000 views in 58 minutes. Tell me that's not manipulation of the algorithm. Another channel I never heard of. The insane crimes of Q moms. Talking about people that were reading QAnon. There's millions and millions and millions of them. So you get some hotheads. So what? Are they out here bombing Tesla dealerships or charging stations or name it? No, they're not. But why would that come out? 6 hours. He got 39,000 views being pushed in the algorithm by a totally unknown to me channel. Letitia James got her misrepresenting her lawful resident, her primary residence. It was really depending which form you read, it was either a 4-unit or 5-unit apartment building she invested in Norfolk, Virginia, which is near Virginia Beach and where they have the main shipbuilding centers in Norfolk. She said that was her primary residence while she was Attorney General in New York. How's that going to come to a head? Well, Josh Shapiro, the question about him is it took somebody to almost burn your house down for you to condemn violence. That's the first time I heard him or any other Democrat really come out and condemn violence. There was that one lady, that weird-looking lady that dyes her hair purple. She said, I don't like violence, but a real weak condemnation. Other than that, I haven't heard anybody. It took an arsonist to set fire to your house for you to say, hey, we don't want violence. The Washington Post. I got to see what Trump said about the Washington Post because he couldn't let this go by. The U.S. and China are close to total economic collapse as Donald Trump and Xi Jinping refuses to make concessions in the trade war. the Washington Post writes. Do you all feel like that we're at economic collapse? This country? Because we're not getting China's flub dubs and cheap chairs, cheap bar stools, and plastic crap? Do you feel like we're nearing economic collapse? It's noted that a breakdown of economic ties between China and the United States could, quote, fundamentally reorder the global economy. You got that right. And increase the likelihood of military clash between the countries. There ain't no damn way they're going to start something with Trump. With anybody. They're losing billions and billions of dollars. They have got frozen factories. They got people freaking out. What the hell am I going to do? And I feel bad for them. But it's better than us freaking out. What are we going to do? Where are we going to get something to eat? Why do we got to pay $12 for a dozen eggs? If anybody's going to suffer, better them than us. Quote, Chinese diplomats were caught off guard by the speed and scale of the U.S. moves last week. Beijing's door remains open for reconciliation with the Trump administration, the article says. Earlier, the Chinese government increased additional duties on goods to the United States to 125%. That's what it was. Well, Trump's going to hit him between the eyes. Reports say, I don't know. Maybe he's just giving them something to be worried about. China could end this tomorrow by being reasonable. Just remember, when you hear people, what's that guy's name? Scott Miller and the guy from Shark Tank, I forget his name. When they use the term IP, China stealing IP, that means intellectual property. Intellectual property. They demand all your information, your recipes, your production methods, your materials, your schematics, your everything. And then they make knockoffs. And you can't sue them. How the hell can you do business that way? Kevin O'Leary. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, IP is intellectual property. That is one of the greatest ripoffs of all time. And they've been doing it for half a century. I don't think they did it during Reagan. Reagan would have, they had to treat Reagan with kid gloves. The deep state had to treat him with kid gloves, and so did China. Because they knew what he would do. He was predictable. I will get into what predictable means, okay, and how it is used in PSYOPs and deep state shit. Stuff. Sorry about that. That is a term to remember. And they always say Trump's unpredictable. They try to say it as a negative. The deep state hates unpredictability because they don't know how to manipulate. I'll get into that in another conversation. So anyway, we will see what tomorrow brings, what kind of a meeting Trump has with Bukele. Do you think Bukele is going to bring this Tren de Aragua character back with him, or MS-13, or whatever the hell he is? No. And it's going to be interesting to see how, the other thing was after they asked that stupid question, another reporter, like the next question or the second question, said, President Trump's going in for his physical. Is he going to be anesthetized or lose consciousness or anything like that? What the hell kind of question is that? Again, she looked like she was going to laugh in his face, but she didn't. But you could tell. She didn't know. He's going for a regular physical. Why would you bring up that he's going to go under anesthesia? That's just as dopey as thinking Bukele's going to bring a damn gang member back into this country with him when he comes to meet with Trump. And it's almost as stupid as Sotomayor bringing up torture and inhuman acts and all this crap in a dopey order to clarify the word facilitate, you idiot. So we got that little chess game going on. The Tuesday court meeting with the dopey lower court judge. The visit from Bukele. China gonna crack. Trump will sit there and have a real nice press conference or maybe a White House luncheon or dinner with Bukele, and all the while, telegram Xi Jinping 400%. And Trump's like, that's the last thing on my mind right now. I'm having a real good time. And this judge having smoke flying out of her ears, and Trump's like, that's the last thing on my mind. I'm having a good time right now. As a matter of fact, I might show Bukele, President Bukele, how to golf. Ha ha ha. So anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for spending your precious time with me. And gee, we're almost halfway through this month. And this week I had Mike and Bev help me out, and Gary on Buy Me a Coffee. I have a link in the description. And I hope you all know, giving me a thumbs up is free, so you don't forget. And if you're not subscribed, why not? If you're subscribed and hit the notification bell, you'll know when I go live. So anyway, once again, thank you for spending your precious time with me. I should be posting tomorrow night, folks. Let's have some fun. Should I post like this again, or should I do it in landscape mode, or the mode I'm in right now, which I believe is portrait? Should I have the chats on the screen? Let me know something in the comments after the video. Okay? It's kind of wild. And whatever. Let me know something. So y'all have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man. Over and out.